Welcome friends, old and new. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is part 2 of my meditations. As I explained in my first meditations video, how long was it ago? A few weeks ago? The reason why these are called meditations is they're basically just my channel news segments that don't belong in any particular playlist and aren't related to directly a particular gameplay. I call them the meditations because Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, has a book that you can go down to your local bookstore or Amazon.com and buy called The Meditations. And I recommend it. I mean, it's not a page-turner, but it's an interesting look at the mind of a very powerful man who, despite everything, managed to keep himself humble, which is one of the reasons why I like him so much. The reason for this video is I would like to determine, you are going to help me determine what my next LP is going to be within some parameters that I'm going to set. So please watch all the way to the end so you can see what's going on and how it's all going to work. Before I do that though, I just want to say, wow, I checked my YouTube page today after work and I have 250 subscribers. That's about 50 more than I had yesterday, and I know why. It's because Surreal Beliefs gave me a really generous and kind shout out in his latest video, and so I just want to welcome all of you new to the channel, and I hope you really enjoy what I put out, and I want to take a moment to speak in this video about what to expect from me in the future so you understand what I'm about and what's coming. I also just want to say thank you, of course, to Surreal Beliefs. Not only is he a really great entertaining YouTuber, but he really is a great mentor and friend to me. He's the reason why I got started doing this. I started watching YouTube Let's Plays for Dwarf Fortress to learn how to become a better Dwarf Fortress player, and I didn't care who I was watching. I just wanted to see how they were designing their fortresses and what they were doing. And then I moved on to other games, because I was new to the genre of Let's Plays, and so I went to Medieval Total War, which is one of my Medieval 2 Total War, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's how I found Surreal. So I watched a lot of his videos, and I really enjoyed his sense of humor and the fact that he was an educated speaker, and the quality that he brought to the videos was just a step above what I was used to. So when I decided to start doing this, I asked him for some advice, and he was very kind and gracious and told me a lot of things. So I just really appreciate all he's done for me. So my last campaign was middle-aged Shinuyama in Dominions 4, and it didn't go the way I had planned it to go. Certainly I don't like losing, and especially I don't like losing with hundreds of people watching me do it. There was a rock in the bottom of my throat when I was uploading that video, because I was like, oh my gosh, these people, they think I'm an expert at this game, and nothing could be farther from the truth. I have a lot of experience, but as I've said before, no one is an expert at this game. And these videos are primarily for entertainment. Yes, my Let's Play was supposed to be a tutorial, and if you haven't seen it and you want to get into this game and want to understand it, I recommend you go back and look through that one, because not only did I win, but I explained a lot of the mechanics of the game that I will not be doing in future Let's Plays. And I did a lot of things wrong in the Shinuyama campaign, so by all means, watch it for entertainment, maybe for some pathos, but you're not going to learn much from it in terms of how to become a better player. So I have some future plans that I want to discuss with you. Of course, I'm going to have a new Let's Play. It's going to be set in the late age of Dominions, and it's going to be my main Let's Play. It's going to be a full experience from beginning to hopefully victory. I intend to get into some late game magic. I'm going to set research to easy so that we could see some of that big battlefield clearing stuff later on. Alongside of it, I'm going to be doing 2 separate mini nation showcase / tutorials. Not at the same time, one first and then the other, but one is going to focus on getting started with blood magic and the blood economy, and the other is going to be about an early bless rush strategy, because these are 2 things that I am not probably going to be doing a lot of in my general Let's Plays, because it's not my favorite way of playing, but I've received a lot of requests, and some people watch me to learn how to play the game better, and so I kind of feel honestly that it's my obligation to portray these different aspects of playing the game, as they are very popular and very powerful, and to kind of show you examples of how that works. So that is my current plans. I do not, at this point, have any plans to branch out into other games. However, that being said, I will eventually do so. I mean, you kind of have to. There's only so much you can do with one game forever. And I enjoy playing games. I enjoy playing a lot of games. And in the past couple months, I've pretty much 90% of my game playing time has been devoted to Dominions 4 because that's what I'm recording. And so eventually I'd like to incorporate some other stuff. But I don't really want to compete with anybody. You know, there's no point in me doing Total Wars. Surreal does that far better than I ever could. And I want to be able to make a mark on games, maybe lesser known games or things that are going to get a bit more use, you know, so you don't have 10,000 other people to look at if you want to watch a game. Primarily, I'm interested in turn-based strategy games, but my interests run the gamut. They go all over the place. Just to give you an example of my thought process, there's a new game that was just released by a company called Slitherine, kind of under the radar, an indie game called Pandora, and it's a turn-based game, and I was thinking in my mind, that might be a fun game to Let's Play, even though I don't know anything about it, I've never played it, but like literally 5 minutes after the game was released, DOS24680 put a video up on it, and I love DOS. I watch all of his stuff. He's also one of the guys that I kind of cut my teeth on when I was starting to watch Let's Plays. I really enjoy his stuff, and it's the guy. He is a machine. He's able to put out videos immediately after a game is released. So I'm trying to find a niche. I'm trying to find some games that maybe aren't all over the place, but that's probably not possible. And eventually, I'm gonna be doing some other things. Not yet though. We still have the 3 more Dominions 4 campaigns, the main one and the 2 minis, and then at that point we'll see where we're headed. So, okay, well, now the real reason you're all here is to help me determine, well, actually, you're not going to help me determine, you are going to determine what nation I play next. And as I mentioned, it's going to be in the Late Age. Now, the Late Age is very interesting. It's a lot darker than the other 2 ages. It's got less magic sites, but that's not going to actually take place in my game because I'm going to bump up the magic site percentage. But it's just a more troops with armor, a lot more magic diversity, but the mages themselves are not as strong. So what I did was I created a test game, and it's like a test multiplayer game basically, and so I have all these nations. So these are the 6 nations that I am going to be choosing from: Pythium, Ulm, Bogarus, Patala, Gath, and Atlantis. Okay, these are all Late Age nations, and you are going to determine which of these 6 that I play. So let's talk about them. Atlantis is not in the Late Age, strictly speaking, an underwater nation. They can go underwater, they're perfect amphibians, but they start off on land. And the kind of mythos behind this nation is the nation of R'lyeh, which is the nation based on H.P. Lovecraft's Star Spawns and Cthulhu mythology, beat these guys underwater. They just beat them, and so they had to run away. And the few surviving Atlanteans basically ended up in this frozen wasteland called the Coasts of Ice and Bones. And it is, the mythology is kind of a combination of the Atlantean mythology with kind of Arctic native peoples like the Inuit. I don't know if this is PC anymore, but we used to call them the Eskimos. And that's kind of what this nation is about. You've got not a whole ton of troop and commander diversity, but it's just a cool nation. Their armor gets better in the cold. They have 1 sacred unit, which is pretty decent. They have 1 main capital-only mage, or at least he was capital-only in Dominions 3. That may have changed, I don't know. Who's going to be your main mage guy. He's pretty powerful in death and water. And he's also a level 2 priest. And then you have the Recruit Anywhere, or at least in Dominions 3, Recruit Anywhere mage, which is just a little guy. But, so this nation doesn't have a lot of different units and different things to mess around with, but it's a fun thematic nation. And one thing I really like about them is they have a special spell that only they have. Oh gosh, I forget what There's a little monster fish, but that's not what I'm talking about. All Atlantis has that. It's a spell where it's like an assassination spell, basically, where you send a kind of a monster to attack and try to assassinate an enemy commander in it can be a province far away. Like, it doesn't have to be a nearby province. There we go. Send Tupilak. The Tupilak is an artificial animal made from various animal cadavers. So it's like this undead, rotting, crazy thing, and it goes and attacks a commander. So it's if I played these guys, I'd probably be trying to assassinate a lot of guys. That would be one of my main strategies. Okay, so after these guys, I forget how to go back to another nation here. Maybe end turn. There we go. Gath. So Gath is based on early Israeli mythology, I guess, or basically the Middle East kind of area, and it's a nation of giants. And in the earlier ages, the giants made up most of everything. In this age, the giants are very rare. Mostly it's humans. But what's neat about it is they have these people that are from different tribes. There's the Levites, the Asherites, the Gadites, the Zebulonites, and they all have different abilities and benefits, and it's kind of cool. And they have their typical, they have mini giants? I'll call them mini giants, where they're giants but not quite. Maybe like my the Enkidu. And so there's a lot of magic diversity in these guys. And then they have the big guys, the full giants that are sacred. And what this nation is good at, from what I read, is thugs. You can recruit thugs straight out the gate that are pretty impressive, especially with the right magical paths. So it's a unique and fun, interesting nation. Outside of the capital, you can't recruit anything. I mean, obviously in fortresses, but they don't have any kind of special recruitment. So that's another choice. Next choice is Patala. Patala is, many people have requested one of the monkey nations. And I hate the monkey nations. Like, I hate them. I just don't find them enjoyable at all. I'm not good at them. But if I had to choose a monkey nation that I wanted to play, it would be Patala. They're the late age monkey nation, and they're ruled by the Nagas, these snake people. And they have great magic diversity. They're interesting. They're paths that I like: water, nature, a little bit of earth. And they just have a unique assortment of troops. And one thing cool about the monkey nations, I will say, and this is one of my favorite things in the game, is they have a ton of their own national summons that only they get. Yakshas, Yakshinis, herd of elephants. That's a new one. I haven't seen that. Apsaras, Ganas. So they have interesting Hindu mythology-based national summons. So that's an option. And they are able to produce some of their national troops in forest provinces, maybe other provinces as well, but I noticed the Plains province, they didn't have anything. So that's the next option. Then we have Bogarus. This is another nation that has some really cool national summons based on Russian mythology. The Zmei, the Firebird, the Vodyanoi, the Rusalka. Really cool stuff. Otherwise, though, I'm a little nervous about this nation. I feel like this could be another Shinuyama, where they're very similar to Shinuyama in that their infantry is very weak. Their national troops are generally very weak, and the only good troops are very expensive. They have a unique sacred troop, but I don't think I would go with a blessed strategy for these guys. The cool thing, they do have a level 3 priest, like but he's old, really old. And they have mages that, well, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different mages, and they kind of cross the gamut. There's a little bit of blood, astral, air, fire. So these guys are very diverse, but really not very strong. And I could totally see myself getting beat by these guys. Getting beat as these guys. But I wouldn't have added them to the list if I wasn't willing to play them. So they're definitely a valid option, and I've read guides, and I will do the best I can. Next, we have Ulm. Middle-Age Ulm is my favorite Nation of Dominion. It's the first one I played. It's what got me into it. I love those guys. This is the Late Age, and things are a little different and a lot darker. It's got some blood mixed into it, and the main national summon of this particular group of people is a blood magic summon called Sanguine Heritage, which gives you a vampire count. So this is like the Transylvania nation. It's a mix between German infantry and kind of Romanian, Transylvanian vampires and crazy things like that. I like this nation because they have very solid troops. I tend to prefer nations that have very solid troops. They are just cool. I just like them. But also, they have some really unique advantages. The Black Priests can cast some national evocation spells, which are great on the battlefield. These second tier members are spies. What's fun to try with these guys is to fill up an enemy capital or castle with a bunch of these guys and try to instill unrest, which is something spies can do. So you can basically shut down their production. They also have undead ghoul guardians, which defend the castle. They're very cool. And you have really neat sacred cavalry. So I like this nation a lot. I played them in Dominions 3. I've won games with them. So that's definitely a good choice. And also they can recruit some of their easier mages, the Illuminated one and the member of the second tier. They can recruit them anywhere, I believe, which makes them quite versatile as well. And finally, we have Pythium. Pythium is the final iteration of the Roman Empire type nations. They are basically, Ermor was the Roman Empire. They fell to darkness and necromancy, and Pythium kind of came from that in the Middle Age, and Pythium is kind of an astral, powerful nation with astral air. They can summon angels. They have communions are their big thing. Well, this Third Age Pythium is a bit different, and I love the mechanics of this nation, and let me show you kind of why. They have cults. Like, there's not just one... Well, there is one official religion, right? The religion of whoever my pretender is. But then there's cultists that are heretics, meaning they actually lower your dominion in their provinces, but they're very valuable for one reason or another. I mean, these are all okay. These guys are all sanctioned by the god. There's the Serpent Priest, who's the big bad Mama Jamma. They have a recruitable assassin unit, which is very good. They have, from the Middle Age, they have Theurgs, who are astral, but they're just not as good as they used to be. And then they have these mages of water and death, and more serpent acolytes, so they're good in nature. And then they have cool commanders. You have a battle deacon, who's kind of like a commander plus a priest, and then you have different levels of your typical legion commanders. You have two armies based on the late Roman Empire. There's the defender army, the Limitanes, who basically, in history, they were the ones who guarded the borders, and they were like the defensive army. And then there's the standing army. In this case, they're called the Comitatense and the Palatines, and they're the ones with these really cool green shields, and they're the stronger of the two. Then you also have your gladiators from the Roman nations, and you have cataphracts based on lizards. So there's serpent cataphracts, which are very cool. And finally, you can recruit hydras. I love this nation. I'm going to vote for this nation. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to. I want to play what you guys want to see, and again, I'll be more than happy, and I'll give my all to whatever nation is selected, but I love these guys. So outside of the capital, all of a sudden you have some new mages. You have a Leo, who's a one fire commander. Again, heretic. Unit leads people away from the true faith. You have a Heliodrome. Same thing. Just a more powerful fire mage. So if you want to break out into fire, these are your guys. Then you have the Misties, which are nature and potentially earth mages. And you have the Epoptes, which is the higher version of them. They cure disease, but again, they're also heretics, and they lower your dominion. Still, though, it's diverse and it's cool. Then you have the Reveler. This guy's neat. He's a bad heretic. Like, he lowers your dominion better than anybody else. He also causes unrest in the province that he's in. But what do you get for that? Well, you get potentially some blood magic. Not a lot. I mean, this is never going to be a big blood nation. But why would you want blood magic for these guys? Well, because they have a special spell. No, that's not Pride of Lions, but well, they have the Daughter of Typhon, which is a giant Hydra creature. That's a special spell. But they also have, where is it? Is blood magic? Yes, they have a spell called Orgy, which gives you 6 Maenads, which are like from the early Arco nation. They're like I don't even know how to explain them. They're like Greek revelers who are. Well, you read the description. During the orgy, 6 women will be struck by the madness of the wild, shedding all clothes in civilized manners and turning into the wild as raging Maenads. They're a free spawn unit, I believe, from early age Pangea as well. And so you get a commander, a satyr, and you get the 6 Maenads. And these are free upkeep troops. So they're a unique addition to the armies once you have a little bit of a blood economy set up. And they're very cheap. You don't need to get a ton of blood slaves. You just need 1, and you get that. So it's just a very diverse and interesting nation. You're going to have to be strategic about where you place your mages because they're lowering your dominion, right? So you want to put them on the borders or in the fringes, which makes sense. I mean, that's how it was in real life. The cults never are established in the capital. And so this nation's in my opinion, a lot of fun. So those are your options. In the text underneath this video, I'm going to be posting a link to the poll. I'm going to do this scientifically this time. I'm not just going to have people comment. I'm going to have a poll. You get to choose one and you get to vote. And this is also going to be a longer poll. This poll is going to last until next Monday. I believe that's the 2nd of December. And there's a reason why I'm doing that. One, I know that all of my subscribers can't just watch my videos 5 minutes after they're posted and immediately watch the video and vote. I know it's going to take some people a long time. But also, here in the United States, we have a holiday coming up in a couple days called Thanksgiving. It's a national holiday. And I'm going to be indisposed doing family events and obligations. And so I will not be able to do any recording at all until next week. Potentially Monday, maybe even Tuesday. So I figure, why not? I have to take a week break anyway. Why not give you guys the opportunity to vote, and I'll make it a long vote so that everybody's vote hopefully can get in on time. And whichever nation wins that vote is the nation that I'm going to be playing. So it's up to you. I appreciate your feedback, and definitely vote on this. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting and being involved. For those of you who are new to my channel and are still listening, this has gone on a while, don't know exactly how long, I really love the community aspect of this YouTube system, and so I ask that my commenters give me their, if they choose to, they can give me their names to be used in my campaigns. I like to name my generals and mages after my subscribers and commenters, and I love comments. I love strategic advice. I really love to debate the strategies I'm doing and what you think if they're good or not and what you would do instead. These are things that I really enjoy. So my channel is not a dictatorship. It's not me just recording these videos and you watching them and you better enjoy them. But it's more like a dialogue, and I like to really involve my audience. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then you are most welcome here. And there's people already who are getting very involved, and I love those people, and I just think I built a really nice little community here. So welcome, and kick off your shoes and stay a while. All right, everyone, have a good one.